Last week, the then EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu shocked the country when he announced his resignation from that party to join Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto Sizwe party. The move was totally unexpected. He has now been announced as part of the MKP's top 8 leaders, and Zuma has not wasted any time lauding Shivambu's decision. In this episode, we look at the statements of Zuma and Shivambu and try to make sense of their new bromance. Hello everyone, welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host Joseph Musia. Let's get right into it.
Will never allow to be addressed by a criminal. Will never allow to give money, a budget, to a criminal who is just going to abuse that money for his own self-enrichment and promotion of his family. We cannot allow that to happen.
That was then, and this is now.
So to assemble the best of the best amongst black people to govern society is a best decision. And to associate with that is a best and sound decision. People who can govern, like it's as simple as that. Like, if you say that who amongst ourselves is the best, and then you say, let's assemble those who can demonstrate that they have got capacity to run otherwise very complex and huge institutions, who are not going to collaborate with the establishment and switch on electricity on and off and say it's load shedding because there's a crisis of this and that. People who are genuine and real and have never done anything wrong. And of course will be criminalized for one reason or another.
The interpretation of the comrade who's sitting here that I'm standing next to, this one, this one, this one, this one. You don't know. They're politicians and politicians. This comrade I've known from when he was very young in the ANC Youth League. That's when I picked him up that he is a real politician. His politics, which I defy as scientific politics. This young man, he's a young man to me. Don't worry that he's big than me and all. Honest politician. Honest. Clear political. He takes decisions at the right time for good reasons.
American statesman Henry Kissinger is credited with the saying, "America has no permanent friends or enemies, only permanent interests." When one really thinks about it, though, Zuma and Shivambu's partnership is not entirely surprising. For a long time, when Shivambu and Zuma were still in the EFF and ANC respectively, the EFF had started acting like they were part of the RET faction of the ANC that was led by Zuma. The rivalries of the past were forgotten, with EFF leaders traveling all the way to Nkandla to have tea. So when Shivambu and Malema fell out, the movement towards MKP was almost a natural one. Today they are once again completely in agreement that Zuma's Umkhonto Sizwe is the answer to the problems of black South Africans. Zuma is angry though that journalists covering his event were not praising him for the people he has assembled in his new party.
If there is a person like my brother here, there is no happiness to say, thanks God, the good people are coming together. Ufuna, what do you want? Kulava, what do you want? You make the news about us being ourselves. We make news about ourselves sent by big fellows with money behind who say, we'll pay you, go and deal with them. That's what it is, if I tell the truth. There's been no wonderful question here that says, then how did you come to this good idea that the black people must come together and be united like others? Instead of asking that question, why have you joined this one or not that one?
It is not yet clear what the exact beef between Shivambu and Malema was. What is apparent, though, is that something major shifted in Floyd that made him go knocking on Zuma's door. He left a position of guaranteed power as EFF Deputy President to be named 8th on the MKP leadership structure. Even that seems to be a position created hurriedly to accommodate him. If there was one speculation that made the rounds, it was that the EFF leadership was unhappy with Shivambu because he had failed to secure them votes as a deployee of that party in KwaZulu-Natal ahead of the May elections. How he can be entrusted with the position of national organizer, therefore, does not make sense. These events cannot be seen in isolation from the broader realignment taking place in South African politics following the past elections. Even though it is painful for the ANC and the DA, they are now working together nationally as part of a coalition government. The Freedom Front Plus, whose leaders had sworn to make sure the DA remained in power in the Western Cape when there was speculation that it might fall below 50%, is now working with the ANC in the province to remove the DA from power in certain municipalities. The entry of MKP onto the stage has also complicated the situation. Most political watchers had expected it to do well in the elections, but the actual level of support, 14% nationally, caught a lot of people by surprise. While the ANC was by far the worst impacted, the EFF was not left unscathed. Shivambu, being a shrewd politician, would have calculated that his former party's fortunes look rather bleak going forward. Malema claimed earlier this week that Shivambu had betrayed him. Shivambu has now replied to that accusation.
Revolution is the content of what we're standing for. It's not just, no, if it's me, you are betraying me. You know, some people will say, you are betraying me. Where does that enter? And you don't even once suggest that I'm betraying the revolution. I will never betray the revolution. Because we're not in the business of trying to please each other's egos here. We're in the business of building a revolutionary movement that is going to emancipate the black majority and Africans in particular, and we're unapologetic about that.
It will be interesting to observe how the two parties interact in Parliament. They had started collaborating on tactics and backing each other up in committees and other forums. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to hit the subscription button, like it, and share it. See you in the next one.